Do you have any words on geothermal energy at all? Just too small to scale up, or any breakthroughs that really can scale it up?
Oh, of course, it's a great way of creating energy. If you're pushing down some water and you're getting steam back, of course, steam engines are not that efficient as I mentioned before. But of course, that's the way you're creating nuclear power as well. It's steam as well. But yeah, it's probably not that as easy to scale as nuclear power. So I think that's the biggest problem. And people are using it, of course, to drill holes and warm their house with ground heating, but it still involves quite a lot of capex.
And then just the final one, you have the famous Jeff Bezos quote that he wants to basically take all heavy industry, put it out in space, and just do the heavy stuff outside the Earth. Maybe it's hard to be short that in a 100-year scenario, but have you seen anything that excites you even on the innovation side, technology side? Because let's just bring a bit facts here, because if you bring down the cost to do things in space, obviously you can build a lot of cool stuff. Obviously satellites are too big and you have Elon Musk doing a lot of exciting stuff, but do you see anything on the energy side at all?
I think if you look at space construction, one of the big problem by putting things into space or orbit is of course the friction and gravity of the Earth. So if you want to get, it could make a lot of sense to build stuff in space, which are things that you want to use in space, so you don't have to shoot it up with a rocket. Of course, one of the things that makes sense probably is space solar, which we have talked about in the past. So of course, there you have the possibility of having sun all the time. So that would basically remove the intermittency of solar power. So I do think that there are some potential. Of course, it's not going to happen tomorrow. If you read sci-fi novels, it seems like every time somebody's developing, they always get to a space elevator. So rather than shooting stuff up in a rocket, they are getting a space elevator. So you create something in space in geosynchronous orbit, and you have to pull this very strong string. And then you can basically use that as an elevator, and you have to have a counterweight on that. So that would be a nice way to get stuff into orbit rather than shooting it up in a rocket. So yeah, I do think it has potential, but I don't think I would be long it. It would take some time before you get some return on your investment.
Definitely makes sense. Just two more questions before we wrap up this Christmas episode. Favorite book you read in 2021?
I think that's a good question. Yeah, I think The Man Who Ran Washington. It's about James Baker III. Just finished it. Really a biography of him, but he's a quite exciting guy. Worked with a lot of political events from the breakdown of the Soviet Union, Iraq War, tax reforms in the US. So he was chief of staff for both Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford, and then finance secretary for Reagan and Secretary of State for Bush. So quite the story.
Definitely. And just the last one, it was a Twitter question, so I wanted to bring it along. Who comes up with the names for your ships, and what does that process look like?
It's very simple, actually. We have been, just to have like a team, we have looked at America Cups finalists. So if you look at all our ships except for Flex Amber, they are either winners of the America Sailing Cup or challengers. So, and usually if we build like sister ships, we just to make it a bit simpler, we try to have the same letter. So sister ships, Flex Endeavor, Flex Enterprise, those are sister ships. Flex Constellation Courageous, sister ships. So that's how we try to do it. Flex Artemis is actually also not America's Cup winner or challenger, but we did that ship with Gunvor, and the CEO of Gunvor, he is a vivid sailor. He has been challenging for this American Cup, and his sailing team is called Artemis Racing. So we changed the name on that ship, so it's Flex Artemis. It was supposed to be named Flex Reliance, but we changed it to Artemis then.
Perfect ending. And just to add on the book recommendation, I really enjoyed the last book you gave me at your offices, the shipping books. So, I mean, shipping books aren't a bad idea either. So, Øystein, thank you so much for taking the time. Once again, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, Christopher. Good to be here, and maybe we can do a repeat in 2022.